Fast and Furious redefined action. It launched legends, reshaped blockbusters, and made family a battle cry. But behind the nitro and billion-dollar box office, real lives unfolded. Here's where the stars of the Fast and the Furious are now, and how far they've come. Back in 2001, Vin Diesel was already known from Pitch Black, but the Fast and the Furious made him a global name. As Dominic Toretto, he embodied raw charisma and street code loyalty, and became the franchise's central figure. After the film's success, Diesel starred in Triple X, The Chronicles of Riddick, and voiced Groot in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. He's also a producer on the Fast series and launched his own game company, Tigon Studios, expanding into digital storytelling. Today, he's still behind the wheel in Fast 10, with Fast 11 on the horizon. At 57, he remains synonymous with the franchise. Even with box office ups and downs, Vin's name is forever tied to the family he helped build on screen. What began as a street racing flick became his life's defining role, and no one else could have let it. Few losses in film history felt as personal as Paul Walker's. When he died in a car accident in 2013, the world stopped. He was just 40 then. Furious 7 became a tribute, blending CGI with performances from his brothers to complete his storyline. That final drive into the sunset didn't just end a chapter, it broke hearts. Off-screen, Paul had co-founded Reach Out Worldwide, a relief organization rooted in action and empathy. Long before street races and action sagas, he was making waves in teen dramas like Varsity Blues, Pleasantville, and She's All That. He brought a quiet intensity and a laid-back California soul. Then came Brian O'Connor, the undercover cop with a moral compass and an easy smile. Paired with Diesel, he helped launch a legacy. Even though he's gone, his presence still lingers in every engine's roar. Michelle Rodriguez, on the other hand, never left at all. As Letty Ortiz, she played a woman who could race, fight, and love with equal force. Already known for Girl Fight, Michelle brought muscle and authenticity to every frame. Over the years, she expanded her career with roles in Avatar, Resident Evil, and Widows. But Fast and Furious remained her home base. Her character's death in 2009 shocked fans, but Letty returned, memory-wiped and dangerous in Fast 6. By Fast 10, she was still part of the core. At 46, Michelle has become one of Hollywood's most enduring action heroines, loyal to the franchise and to the fierce survivor she's helped define for more than 2 decades. It's hard to picture the Fast crew without Roman Pierce's loud confidence and comic chaos, but Tyrese Gibson brought more than laughs. He added rhythm. A chart-topping R&B singer before joining the films, he jumped into 2 Fast 2 Furious in 2003 as Brian's volatile childhood friend. By Fast 5, he was part of the core team. Outside the franchise, Tyrese released best-selling albums, starred in Transformers, and authored a New York Times bestseller. In Fast X, he's still riding shotgun, keeping Roman's mix of swagger and vulnerability alive. 2 decades in, Tyrese hasn't slowed down, on-screen or off, and his chemistry with one tech genius partner in the films gave fans one of the saga's most beloved duos. That dynamic flipped when Ludacris stepped in. Today, he's known as Tej, tech wizard, mechanic, and planner of impossible missions. But before the high-speed hacking, Ludacris was already dominating charts. His 2001 hit Word of Mouth dropped just as the first Fast film raced into theaters. By Too Fast, Too Furious, he'd made the leap to acting, instantly grounding Tej with cool precision. The role grew with each film. By Fast X, Tej was as vital as any driver. Off-screen, Ludacris earned accolades in both music and philanthropy, even receiving an honorary degree from Georgia State. He never faded, he just evolved, and his grounded energy always kept the team's wilder moments balanced. And what about Sung Kang? When Sung Kang's Han Lu showed up again in Fast 9, fans were stunned, but thrilled. For many, Han was the soul of Tokyo Drift, calm behind the wheel with quiet sadness in his eyes. He first appeared in 2006, but the franchise later rewrote timelines just to bring him back. His death in Fast 6 devastated longtime fans. Off-screen, Sung Kang stayed active in film and television, even directing and launching his own whiskey brand. His return wasn't just fan service, it was restoration. In Fast X, he's still stealing cars and hearts. And after all that loss and silence, Han's quiet grin felt like something sacred had finally come full circle. Speaking of Fast and Furious returns, Jordana Brewster's reappearance felt like coming home. In Fast X, Mia Toretto quietly stepped back into the chaos. Older, wiser, but just as steady. Off-screen, Jordana balanced motherhood, producing, and a few select film roles. But for fans, she'll always be Mia, the heart between brothers and the calm in Dom's storm. Her fast journey began in 2001, back when she was fresh off roles in The Faculty and The Invisible Circus. From street races to global heists, Mia stayed grounded. And while she skipped Fast 9, her return reminded everyone that not all legacies are loud. Some, like Jordana's, hold the story together in silence, glances, and the family you never leave behind. But when the franchise needed brute force and box office muscle, Dwayne Johnson stormed in. His arrival in Fast 5 didn't just shift gears, it redefined the series. As Luke Hobbs, he brought power, discipline, and a different kind of charisma. Already a superstar from WWE and the Scorpion King, Johnson helped the films evolve into global spectacles. He led Hobbs and Shaw, launched his own production company, and built an empire off-screen. While tensions pulled him briefly away, he's confirmed to return in Fast X, Part 2. Through every lane he's taken, be it wrestling rings or billion-dollar movies, Dwayne's never really left the driver's seat. And speaking of fast entries with lasting impact, Jason Statham didn't just arrive, he detonated. First teased in Fast and Furious 6, he fully entered the fray in Furious 7 as Deckard Shaw, a villain with fists, fury, and a mission. But long before that, Statham had carved his path through The Transporter, Crank, and Guy Ritchie's crime sagas. His sharp British edge gave the franchise new bite. Over time, Shaw softened into an uneasy ally, especially in Hobbs and Shaw and Fast X. His roles rarely shout, they punch. And in a world built on chaos and codes, Statham made silence dangerous. His speed was in the precision and the menace behind the wheel. Her fall was final, or so we thought. When Giselle resurfaced in Fast X, rising from the wreckage with a silent stare, fans were stunned. Gal Gadot had already become a global icon, leading Wonder Woman, producing films, and balancing fame with fierce privacy. But before all that, she was the wild card in Fast and Furious, 2009, joining the crew with quiet strength and calm danger. Giselle was never the loudest, but she was unforgettable. Her romance with Han gave the franchise rare softness. Her death in Fast 6 hit hard, yet her return signaled more than survival. It hinted at unfinished missions, deeper alliances, and a larger endgame where Giselle's skills may prove critical once again. And when it comes to rising from the shadows, few did it colder than Cypher. Charlize Theron entered the fate of the Furious not with flash, but with control, calculating, merciless, and always 10 steps ahead. Her quiet menace unraveled Dom's world more than any wrecking ball ever could. But Theron's strength didn't start here. She was already an Oscar winner for Monster, a powerhouse in dramas and thrillers alike. Whether in Mad Max, Fury Road, or Bombshell, she built her name on transformation. They gave us adrenaline, family, and unforgettable moments across decades. But with more chapters still ahead, whose story isn't finished yet, and who won't make it to the end?